What if the strongest sorcerer in the world was never meant to be a hero, but a weapon? A weapon so overwhelming that the entire balance of the Jujutsu world twisted itself around his existence. Gojo Satoru is often treated like a walking cheat code, but his true story is far darker, more tragic, and more important than most people realize. Today, we're diving deep into Gojo Satoru's backstory and past, not just to explain how he became the strongest, but to understand what that strength cost him, how it reshaped the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and why Gojo is ultimately one of the most tragic characters in the entire series. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Gojo isn't just powerful, why he believes the Jujutsu world is rotten to its core, and why his past decisions continue to haunt the future of Jujutsu Kaisen. To understand Gojo Satoru, we have to start before he ever chose who he wanted to be, back when his destiny was decided for him. Gojo Satoru was born into the Gojo clan, one of the three great Jujutsu families. But unlike most clan heirs, his birth alone altered history. He was the first person in over 400 years to be born with both the Six Eyes and the Limitless cursed technique. This wasn't just rare. It was catastrophic for the balance of power. The Six Eyes grant near-perfect perception of cursed energy, allowing Gojo to see, analyze, and control cursed energy at an absurdly precise level. Combined with Limitless, a technique that manipulates space itself, Gojo was essentially born with the ability to control infinity. From the moment he took his first breath, he was no longer just a child. He was a strategic asset. Other clans feared him. Cursed spirits sensed him. Even the structure of the Jujutsu world began to shift because Gojo Satoru existed. This is a crucial detail many people overlook. Gojo did not rise to power through effort alone. The world bent around him before he ever made a choice. And that's where the tragedy begins. As a child, Gojo was isolated, not because he was weak, but because he was too strong. Assassination attempts were made against him when he was still young, forcing the Gojo clan to keep him under constant protection. He grew up knowing that everyone around him saw him not as a person, but as insurance, as deterrence, as a living weapon. This isolation shaped Gojo's personality in subtle but important ways. His confidence, his arrogance, and his playful attitude weren't just natural traits. They were armor. If the world was going to treat him like a god, then he would act like one. But even gods can be lonely. When Gojo enrolled at Jujutsu High, everything changed. For the first time, he wasn't alone. This is where Suguru Geto enters his life, and this relationship is the emotional core of Gojo's entire past. Gojo and Geto were equals, at least at first. They were called the strongest duo, not because they worked well together, but because they understood each other. Both were special grade level prodigies. Both were disillusioned with the system. And both believed they were above the weak rules imposed by Jujutsu society. But here's the key difference. Gojo believed strength existed to protect others. Geto began to believe strength justified domination. Before we go further, a quick spoiler warning. From this point on, we'll be discussing major manga and anime spoilers related to Gojo Satoru and Suguru Geto's past. The turning point in Gojo's life came during the Star Plasma Vessel mission. Gojo and Geto were tasked with protecting Riko Amanai, a young girl meant to merge with Master Tengen to maintain the barrier system protecting Japan. At first, Gojo treated the mission lightly. He was confident, untouchable. He believed nothing could go wrong. He was wrong. Toji Fushiguro, the sorcerer killer, shattered Gojo's worldview. Toji was a man with no cursed energy, someone Gojo should have easily defeated. Instead, Toji bypassed Gojo's defenses, outsmarted him, and killed him. This moment is everything. Gojo's first real defeat wasn't just physical, it was philosophical. The idea that someone could exist outside the rules of Jujutsu and still defeat him broke Gojo's understanding of power. But Gojo didn't stay dead. Through near-death enlightenment, Gojo awakened the full potential of the Limitless technique, mastering reverse curse technique and achieving true control over infinity. When he returned, he didn't just defeat Toji, he transcended him, This rebirth marked the moment Gojo became the strongest sorcerer in history. But while Gojo ascended, Geto fell. The aftermath of the mission destroyed Geto emotionally. He witnessed innocent people celebrating Riko's death. He watched sorcerers die, protecting non-sorcerers who would never understand their sacrifice. Where Gojo found clarity through power, Geto found despair. Geto's descent wasn't sudden. It was gradual, logical, and terrifyingly human. He began questioning why sorcerers existed to protect those who feared and hated them. His conclusion was horrifying but internally consistent. If non-sorcerers were the source of curses, then eliminating them would eliminate suffering. This ideological split defines Gojo's character forever. When Gojo confronted Geto after his massacre of an entire village, he could have killed him. He had the power. He had the justification. But he didn't. This choice reveals Gojo's greatest flaw. For all his strength, he is emotionally incapable of letting go. He believes power should be used to save, not erase. And that belief costs him everything. After Geto's death, Gojo's worldview fully crystallized. He realized that simply being the strongest wasn't enough. The Jujutsu system itself was broken. Elders clung to tradition. Power was hoarded. Talented students were used and discarded. So Gojo made a decision that defines the modern era of Jujutsu Kaisen. Instead of ruling through force, he would raise a generation strong enough to replace the system. This is why Gojo becomes a teacher. His students aren't random. Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro, Yuta Okatsu, and others represent different paths to strength. Gojo doesn't want obedient soldiers. He wants independent thinkers capable of surpassing him. This is also why Gojo constantly antagonizes the higher-ups. He doesn't fear them. He's waiting for them to become irrelevant. But here's the irony. By becoming the pillar of the Jujutsu world, Gojo accidentally prevents change. As long as he exists, the elders rely on him to solve everything. His strength stabilizes the system he wants to destroy. This leads us to the cruelest twist of Gojo's past. Gojo Satoru is trapped by his own power. No matter how much he hates the system, the world depends on him too much to let it collapse naturally. This is why his ceiling in the prison realm is so devastating. For the first time since his birth, the world is forced to move without Gojo. From a thematic perspective, Gojo represents absolute power without absolute freedom. He can do anything, except escape the role the world assigned him. Now let's talk about future implications and theories. Based on established lore, Gojo's story was never about winning every fight. It was about forcing evolution. Whether sealed or unsealed, Gojo's true legacy lies in the students he leaves behind. His belief that the next generation will surpass him mirrors his own rebirth after Toji. One theory suggests that Gojo's ultimate role isn't to defeat the final enemy, but to be surpassed in ideology, not power. His students may succeed where he failed, not by being stronger, but by creating a world where strength isn't the only solution. Another possibility is that Gojo himself must finally let go. His inability to kill Geto, his attachment to the past, and his refusal to fully abandon the system suggests that Gojo's final growth may be emotional, not physical. In the end, Gojo Satoru isn't just the strongest sorcerer. He's a man born with infinite potential and infinite responsibility. His past explains his arrogance, his kindness, his recklessness, and his loneliness. He is proof that strength alone cannot fix a broken world. And maybe the greatest question Jujutsu Kaisen asks through Gojo is this. If you had the power to change everything, but doing so meant destroying what little humanity you had left, would you do it?